Hey you guys, what's up? It's RocketDust54 here, and welcome to my list for the top 10 best albums of 2022. I know this video is coming out pretty late. I did not intend for it to come out this late, but this is just when I ended up getting it done. So again, it's going to be a top 10 list this year. I'd say overall 2022 was a pretty good year for music. Definitely was an enjoyable year for music for me. I got to see 3 concerts. I got to see Avril Lavigne in May, which was really good. And then I got to see this guy in July, which was maybe just the highlight of my whole year. Like, honestly, seeing Machine Gun Kelly live in July was just like such an amazing experience for me. I've been wanting to see him live for a few years now, and it was just such an amazing night. Like, man, my throat was hoarse after that evening. God, that was such a great show. And then in September, I saw the Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Joan Jett, and Poison Stadium tour, which was also quite good. So yeah, pretty good year for concerts and a pretty good year for music. So I'm just gonna get started right now with the honorable mentions, which are Taylor Swift's Midnights, Quavo and Takeoff's Only Built for Infinity Links, rest in peace to Takeoff, Drake's Honestly Nevermind, Youngboy Never Broke Again's Colors, Megan Thee Stallion's Traumazine, The Weeknd's Dawn FM, NLE Choppa's Me vs. Me, and T Grizzly's Chapters of the Trenches. Coming in at number 10 is Nas's King's Disease 3. I think this is easily the best out of the King's Disease trilogy. I wasn't super huge on the first 2 King's Disease albums. I thought the first one was okay, but was really overhyped, and then I thought the second one was better. I thought that one was pretty good, but still thought it was, like, pretty overhyped. But this one honestly is a top 5 Nas album for me. I just loved this thing. I really just thought, like, this is what I wanted the first 2 King's Disease albums to be. Like, Nas just gets fully into his groove here. He just keeps on rapping his ass off on every single track. Hit Boy's production is great. I would have to say my favorite song from this one would have to be Till My Last Breath. Yeah, if this is what Nas is giving us in 2022, I cannot wait to see what he comes out with next, because as I said, after being pretty underwhelmed by the previous 2 King's Disease albums, I am really, really looking forward to what Nas has in future if this is the quality he's going to be giving us. Like, I would definitely not be opposed to King's Disease 4. Coming in at number 9 is DJ Khaled's God Did. Now, I feel like this is going to be the black sheep out of this top 10 list, in terms of, like, what people will agree on, because for some reason, a lot of people don't like DJ Khaled, and I've really never understood why. I honestly think that he, like, pairs, like, I think he has, like, really good pairings of features to go with his beats, and people say that, like, he just picks the wrong features a lot of the time, and I've just never understood why people say that. Like, honestly, I really loved this album. I thought Khaled was a good album, but I didn't, like, absolutely adore it. This album I was really, really, really impressed by. Now, I will say I haven't heard Grateful still, but I think this is definitely easily his best since Major Key. This album I thought was great. I thought that, the features he got to go with his beats on this album were really, really good. I loved, like, all the diversity in the features. And then I would also say it was also really, 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 really nice to finally get that, the Use This Gospel remix with Eminem on it, because ever since Kanye made a tweet about that, I've just wanted to hear it so bad. And it finally came out, and I was really, really happy to hear it. I thought it was very, very good. I thought Eminem, I mean, how are you gonna doubt Eminem at this point? Like, obviously it's going to be good. And I thought that Eminem's feature on it was really, really, really good. The title track, I am still in shock about that 4-minute Jay-Z verse. That is just absolutely insane. Yeah, honestly, I would say that this is probably one of the most overhated albums of the year. And honestly, I wouldn't be upset if this won Best Rap Album at the Grammys in a few weeks. I would have to say my favorite track from this album would be Keep Going. Coming in at number 8 is Denzel Curry's Melt My Eyes, See Your Future. I've just got into Denzel Curry this year, and I am in fucking love with this guy's music. He is just such an amazingly talented rapper. I'm still just like so happy that like someone like him exists in this day and age. Just the quality of music he puts out time and time again. Like Zoo is like the way it sits right now, like it's not like I have it currently in my top 30 of all time. It might end up making its way into the top 20 of all time for me for favorite albums of all time because I just absolutely love Zoo so much, and Taboo is a fantastic album as well. But Melt My Eyes, See Your Future was a really, really good one, and I will say it's definitely strange given that Denzel Curry he goes like pretty hardcore in his music. He makes like mosh pit material. This album is a lot more laid back. I mean, I should say laid back for him. Laid back for him. But I thought it was a really, really, really good album. I liked how he changed things up and didn't have it go super hardcore like he did on his last couple. Really, really like this one overall. I already can't wait for the next album. I would say that my favorite track from this one would be Troubles with T-Pain. Coming in at number 7 is Post Malone's 12 Carat Toothache. Um, I really should listen to this again because I only listened to it the one time when it first came out. But this is one I've been wanting to revisit from start to finish because even though I don't think it's as good as his previous three, I still thought this was a really good project. Like, I really don't think Post Malone can miss. He is such an amazingly talented vocalist. He knows exactly what he's doing in all the songs he makes. Um, like this one, when he debuted Love Hate Letter to Alcohol, which is my favorite track from the album, when he debuted that on SNL, oh my god, I got such chills. The Fleet Foxes feature was really, really good. And just like the passion he just puts into his vocals, into the production, it's just amazing. Like, as with Denzel Curry, this is just one where I cannot wait already for another Post Malone album. I really hope that we don't have to wait another 3 years for us to get another one. But I also liked, some of the other songs on here. Like, even though it's overplayed, I do like I kind of blanked on the name for a minute, but I Like You with Doja Cat. I do think that's a good song, even though it's overplayed. The song he did with The Weeknd, I also enjoyed as well on here. I kind of wish he had some more features, but still really, really liked this album overall. Coming in at number 6 is Freddie Gibbs' Soul Sold Separately. Now, I'm kind of crucifying myself by saying this, but I wasn't that big a fan of Alfredo, unfortunately. I wanted to love it as much as everyone else did. I just didn't care for it that much. It has a few good songs on it that I do enjoy, but I just wasn't all that crazy about it. Just especially with a great producer like The Alchemist, I was expecting more out of it, but this album goes crazy. Every single song on here is such a banger. Freddie Gibbs definitely just raps his ass off. Like, this and Alfredo are the only two albums from him that I've heard from start to finish, and it's making me want to check out more. Like, I know I should. Really, there's no good excuse for me to have not checked out more of his stuff, because I remember first hearing him, like, his music in GTA 5 and being like, wow, this guy's really good. I should check out more of his stuff. And then I literally never did until Alfredo came out. So I really have no excuses. I should listen to more of his stuff. But because especially after this album, I'm like, I need to check out more. This album went so hard. This is what I wanted. Like, this is the level of quality I wanted out of Alfredo. I would say my favorite track off of this would be Too Much. Coming in at number 5 is Drake and 21 Savage's Her Loss. Now, this was an album that, I mean, I didn't really expect Drake and 21 Savage to make a whole album together. I mean, on Jimmy Cook's off Honestly Nevermind, they obviously had great chemistry. That was a really good song. Didn't really expect them to make a whole album together, and this wasn't one that I was like, I'm not sure exactly how high my hopes were for it because I love Drake and I love 21 Savage, but I wasn't exactly sure what the two of them meshing together for a whole album would sound like. Thankfully, it sounded fantastic because I absolutely adored this album from start to finish. You know, I think that there's a lot of great bangers on here. There's some nice like smoother songs that you can just vibe to. 21 Savage definitely understands the assignment on here. I found it definitely was more of a Drake album than a 21 Savage album because I thought Drake definitely had more solo songs on here than 21 did. And even on the songs they do together, Drake definitely raps more, but I'm honestly okay with that. Like I just love hearing like new material from Drake regardless. And when 21 Savage does show up, it makes it like a really nice surprise, like a bit of a break in what you're listening to. And this was also the album I listened to right when I got out of laser eye surgery and I couldn't look at any screens, so I had to hand my phone to my mom to like type in the album for me, and I just like put on my headphones and then I like wrote down what my favorite tracks were on a piece of paper. And I just remember like sitting there because, guys, I'll be honest, like for some reason, when I got out of laser eye surgery, for a couple days after, I was feeling like really, really depressed for some reason. But listening to Her Loss really like made it better. Like, it was an album that definitely made me happy. I was not expecting it to go as hard as it did, and I am so, so happy it did. With Drake's last three albums, he has been on a great streak again recently, and I am so here for it. Really hope Drake's next album is as good as this one. I would say my favorite track from this one would have to be Major Distribution. Now, coming in at number 4 is everyone's album of the year, Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I mean, I don't think I really need to say anything by this point. Like, this was the album that everyone was looking forward to the most last year. And I was looking forward to it too. It was Kendrick's first album in 5 years. Damn was a fantastic album that is personally my favorite one. And, obviously Good Kid, Mad City and To Pimp a Butterfly are really good. But, if I'm going to be perfectly honest here, I think I like Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers more than To Pimp a Butterfly. I still think To Pimp a Butterfly is a really good album, but in my opinion, like, I just liked Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers more. I'm not that I'm doubting Kendrick. I mean, obviously he's fantastic, but I was just like, man, like Kendrick, your absence was so missed. Like, I'm so happy to hear, new music from him. And he delivered a lot of memorable tracks on this album. I would say my favorite would be N95, but, I will also say that, Auntie Diaries was a really, really amazingly written song, but also We Cry Together is just fantastic. It is like Kendrick Lamar's own, it's his own Kim, essentially. Like, honestly, Kim might be my favorite Eminem song ever. So to hear like another song in the same vein as that made me so damn happy. Oh man, just like the smile on my face as I was listening to that was just like, I was so damn happy when I was listening to that song. I remember listening to this on the day it came out, and literally Apple Music like couldn't handle all the people that were listening to it, and like it wouldn't respond to if you wanted to click on it and listen to it. It's my top pick to win Best Rap Album at the Grammys in a few weeks. If you haven't heard it, definitely give it a listen. Coming in at number 3 is probably another black sheep in the list, given how many people actually liked it. And that would be Kanye West's Donda 2. Now, a lot of people didn't like this because they thought it sounded really unfinished. And I'll admit, there are parts of it that do sound unfinished. There's parts of it. But I found, like, as people were, like, really blowing this out of proportion, they're like, oh my god, this thing sounds so unfinished. It sounds like he just, like, really threw it together. The songs are, like, not completed. It's like, they're, like, half done. I thought people were really just blowing that way out of proportion, because yes, there are parts of it that sound unfinished, but I found those parts to honestly be few and far between. I thought this sounded like a more cohesive and finished project than I was anticipating. And I thought, like, it's Kanye. I feel like you can't really doubt if a project from Kanye is gonna be great or not. If this is the unfinished version, I am definitely anticipating to see what the finished version of it is gonna look like. I really hope that this ends up getting added to streaming soon, because I really loved this album, and because it's like, you can't really find this online like anywhere all that easily. It's like I just want to have it on streaming so I can like go back and listen to it, because I haven't really like gone back to it all that much. But my favorite track on this would, at the moment, would probably be Flowers, but Broken Road could easily take it. That song is just such bliss. Don Toliver's feature is just amazing. Now, coming in at number 2 is actually an album that I totally forgot I owned physically until just a few minutes earlier in the video, and I was like, wait a minute, I actually own this on vinyl. And that would be Logic's Vinyl Days. I'm gonna say it. My second favorite Logic album, behind Under Pressure. Yeah, I never had any doubt with Logic, but I did not think that he was gonna get up like this high of a ranking in his discography for me again. Like, obviously, like, when you have an artist who has their best project, it's not that often that I think you really see them topping it, especially when it's of something of a level like Under Pressure, which is a great project. This album just really was like, this is exactly what I wanted. What most other people felt with No Pressure, and I do think No Pressure is good, but I'll be honest, I was a bit underwhelmed by it. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't what I wanted. This is what I wanted No Pressure to be. I think Logic just spazzes on every single track, even though there's 30 tracks on here. I'm not complaining. Every track on here was really, really good. Black White Boy, what else? What are some other good tracks? Tetris, the La Donda. The Anthony Fantano line absolutely had me in stitches. That was just so damn funny. I love that so much. I'm really, really happy that Logic is like making music on his own terms now. And as of recording this, his new album, College Park, is supposed to come out in about a month and a half. So I'm really excited for that. This was just a great project all around. I really, really hope you guys check it out if you haven't heard it. If you're a Logic fan and you haven't heard it, you're definitely gonna love it. Even if you're like someone who maybe liked Logic's early stuff but didn't really like a lot of stuff after it, give this a listen, because I think he goes pretty hard on this compared to some of his other projects. And I mean, I don't think I really dislike any Logic project except for Supermarket, which I didn't hate. I just didn't really love it all that much. It was just kind of I don't think it was nearly as bad as people said it was. But Vinyl Days, check it out. Oh, and I forgot to say, my favorite track from it is Black White Boy. And now it's time for my number 1 pick, which is Brockhampton's TM. I, like many Brockhampton fans, was pretty heartbroken when I found out that they'd be breaking up. I really, really, really wanted to get a chance to see them live, and doesn't look like that's gonna happen, unfortunately. Brockhampton was such an amazingly instrumental part of my senior year of high school. Like, they really were like Brockhampton and the Carter Five, as well as like a lot of Kanye's stuff, was the soundtrack to my senior year. Like, Saturation Trilogy is a fucking amazing trilogy. Iridescence is great. Ginger and Roadrunner are really good. And the family's good. I liked it, but a lot of the songs were too short. And All American Trash is good as well. But this album, made me so happy. Like, I am gonna miss the boys dearly, but what an album to go out on. To me, this showcases everything I loved about Brockhampton in a short amount of time. They got, like, the real hard-hitting bangers that, you've come to know and love from them. Like, songs in the same vein as Boogie off Saturation 3. And then there's also, like, really, like, slow emotional songs that you also come to love from them. Like, for example, like, songs like Victor Roberts off of Ginger, or like Thug Life off of Iridescence, or Milk and Face from the first Saturation. I just found that they just, like, captured every bit of greatness that they had and still have, and put it into this album to give the fans a great farewell. Ugh. This album just made me so damn happy. I would have to say my favorite song from this one would be Listerine. Well, guys, that is the end of the video of my top 10 best albums of 2022. Let me know what your picks are in the comments below. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more content. Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. And remember, you guys, whenever leaving your son in a room full of your own personal stuff, say no to drugs.